In this lesson, we're going to be taking a look at something called the law of cosines. Now, the law of cosines, in conjunction with the law of sines, allows us to solve triangles, meaning find all side lengths and angle measurements, for triangles other than right triangles. Of course, with right triangles, we're able to use our basic trig ratios of sine being the opposite leg divided by the hypotenuse, and cosine, the adjacent, divided by hypotenuse, tangent, opposite, divided by adjacent. But when we have non-right triangles, it takes a little bit more. Now, law of sines told us that if I had any opposite pair, I would be able to use the ratios with them in order to solve for missing pieces. Here in the law of cosines, things look out a little bit different. So in any triangle, in this case we have triangle A, B, C, and using our notation and methodologies from geometry, side A is opposite angle A, side B is opposite angle B, side C is opposite angle C. We can develop relationships that might look a little bit familiar to other pieces. So one version for this triangle of our law of cosines states that a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times the cosine of angle A. Okay. Now we can take a look at this and do it from any of the perspectives. So if I needed b, I could say that b squared was a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b, or that c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. Now this last one especially might look familiar, especially the opening section. C squared equals a squared plus b squared. Well, that is simply our Pythagorean theorem. And the reason that that would come out as such is that in Pythagorean theorem, it only works that if triangle ABC is a right triangle with the right angle being at C. Well, if my right angle is at C, that would make C 90 degrees. The cosine of 90 degrees is 0. And so everything from this subtraction sign down would simply disappear. And we'd be left with our old friend Pythagoras. But in other triangles, we can develop a larger series of relationships and solve for any part here. So really what is necessary in order to use law of cosines is either I can have all three side lengths or two sides and their included angle. Under these conditions, I'll be able to move forward. So let's just take a look at one of these in action. So a race course is triangular in shape, with two sides being 2.5 and 3.5 miles. The turn between these two sides forms a 40-degree internal angle on the course. What's the length of the course to the nearest tenth of a mile? Well, in order to find the length of the course, or the perimeter, I'm going to need to have all three sides. So let's just draw up a quick sketch of what this might look like. So we have two sides with a 40-degree internal angle. And those two sides are 2.5 and 3.5 miles. And what we need to do is find the length of this third side so we can then add our three sides together for our perimeter. Well, law of cosines works to solve for a missing side primarily if we have two sides and the included angle, which we have right here. So I'm going to call this side side A, and now my formula can stand up looking like a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc, just a moment, while I move that figure over, times the cosine of angle A. So in this case, a squared is going to equal 2.5 squared plus 3.5 squared minus 2 times that 2.5 times that 3.5 times the cosine of that 40 degrees. Now, a lot of these computations can be done by hand. 2.5 squared is 6.25, 3.5 squared is 12.25, 2 times the 2.5 times the 3.5, of course, but the cosine of 40, we're probably going to need a calculator for that. So running all of this through in one shot would give us that a squared is approximately equal to 5.0942. Then, doing my last little bit of solving for a, taking the square root of that value, I get out that a is approximately equal to 2.26 miles. Now, we were asked to find the perimeter, or the length of the course, the nearest tenth of a mile. So we're going to just call this 2.3. Now, our perimeter will be our 4 sides added together, or sorry, our 3 sides added together. So 3.5 plus 2.5 gives us 6. 6 plus this 2.3 tells us that our race course is 8.3 miles in length. Okay, so simple substitution, running through our formulas and simplifying according to order of operations allows us to find that missing side length and then work from there. Now, if I needed to solve this entire triangle, I could then use this again and again in order to find other parts. So that's if we need to find a side length. What happens if we need to find an angle measurement? The lengths of 3 sides of a triangle are 5, 8, and 12 feet. What is the size of the largest angle? Well, if you remember from our triangle inequality theorems that came up in geometry, the largest side is always going to be opposite the largest angle, and small sides opposite smallest angle. So again, visualization helps. So just a quick sketch of what we would have here. We're going to have a very long side of 12, and then an 8 and a 5. Obviously not done to scale and approximating all of our items. So when we are solving for a missing angle using the law of cosines, the angle that we are searching for comes out opposite the side that we know. So from our first form of the theorem, the law, this would be our A, so we could have angle A here. Okay, let's do a quick derivation of formula. Now, if we start out that A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times the cosine of angle A, what happens if we need to solve for angle A? Well, solving in order to get this portion by itself, our first move would be that A squared minus B squared minus C squared would be a negative 2BC times the cosine of A. So we got rid of that addition. Next, I need to get rid of this multiplication that's going on here. So that gives me that A squared minus B squared minus C squared divided by a negative 2BC would equal the cosine of A. And then in order to get A completely by itself, we would simply take the arc cosine of each side in order to get this alone. So in the end, A is going to equal the arc cosine of that fraction. So now that we have this set up, we can simply substitute in our values to our formula and get that this angle is going to equal the arc cosine of 12 squared minus 8 squared minus 5 squared divided by negative 2 times 8 times 5. And running this through our calculator gives us an angle measurement for A of being approximately 133.4 degrees. Now, when we are dealing with the law of sines, we had the ambiguous case because arc sine, largest value it can give us is 90 degrees. In arc cosine, however, we have the ability to get answers that come out anywhere from 0 degrees to 180. So when solving for a missing angle, cosine, or the law of cosines, is a greatly preferred choice if we have enough information to do it. Now, looking for our other angles, we could repeat the same process, simply swapping out which parts we put, or which characteristics of our triangle we put in as A, B, and C. If I wanted my second largest angle here, I would simply make 8 my A value, 5 and 12 my B and C, and I could solve down. Then once I have those two, the angles inside of a triangle add up to 180. Simple matter of subtraction will finish it out. So how can we use the law of sines and the law of cosines together in order to solve out an entire triangle? So in triangle RST, the length of side S is 41, the length of side T is 53, the measurement of angle R is 126 degrees. We need to solve the triangle. Now remember, solving a triangle means finding all sides and all angles. So putting in our information to a quick sketch gives me a situation that looks like this. So what information do I have? Well, I have the length of side T, the length of side S, and the angle in between them. Now, in order to use law of sines, I have to have an opposite pair, which I do not have here. In order to use law of cosines, I either need 3 sides or 2 sides in the included angle. And I do have that 2 sides and angle situation. So using law of cosines, I can solve for R as such. Then going through and running my numbers through my calculator gives me that R squared is approximately 7,044, a little bit over half, 0.5147, which then running my square root, I get that R is approximately equal to 83.9 units. Now I do have one opposite pair in my triangle. So I also have all 3 sides of my triangle. So I can start solving for either angle T or angle S using either method, the law of sines or the law of cosines. Just so I don't get rusty on my law of sines, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to solve for angle T, it being the second largest angle in here because it's opposite the second largest side. So setting up my law of sines, I end up here with the sine of T over 53 equals the sine of 126 over my 83.9 that I just solved for R. Now solving this for T, I move here where the arc sine of 53, because I multiplied that up, times the sine of 126, all divided by 83.9. Now, running that computation, T comes out to be approximately 30.7 degrees. Now, I do not need to check my ambiguous case in this because I already have one angle in my triangle that is over 90 degrees, and no triangle can have 2 obtuse angles or even 2 right angles. So I'm pretty sure that that one is the 30.7. In fact, I'm confident in it. Now for angle S, I could repeat this process, or I could carry through and simply use the fact that the angles inside of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So the measure of angle R plus the measure of angle S plus the measure of angle T has equal 180. And I have 126 plus the measure of angle S plus 30.7 equals 180. Combining my like terms, the measure of angle S plus 156.7 degrees S equal 180 degrees. So running my subtraction, the measure of angle S is going to be 23.3 degrees. Okay, so I now have all side lengths and all angles for this triangle, and the triangle is solved. So law of sines allows us to do a certain amount of work. The law of cosines allows us to do a certain amount, but each situation does come out unique. Remember, for law of sines, I need to have an opposite pair. For law of cosines, I need to have either all three sides or two sides and an included angle. Working in concert, these two laws will help us solve all parts of a triangle and be able to know a lot more information about these geometric shapes.